Test? Come on, Mike. Are you working? Yes, Mike is working. BGM working? Yep. Good morning, Bat Bunch. Thank you again, Dragofina, for the 2 years of subscriptions. Yep. It is an unplanned podcast stream today. Yeah, I think... Yeah. Could go a little higher, probably. No, I'm not. I don't want to. Okay. Let's keep it there. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Essentially, I was supposed to plan for this week's Yammer time earlier, and then I didn't. So that's on me. But it ties into today's topic, which is how to take breaks as a content creator. And we'll get into my strategies for that. I have 3 strategies, which are hopefully helpful to you. Hopefully one of them helps you depending on your situation, your goals, etc. Okay. So, let's just get right into it. So, can everyone see the board here? Let me just make sure. Yeah, you can see the board. Alright. Here we go. Oh, and also if my model glitches out today, VTube Studio's given me an interesting time lately, so I'm sorry if my face freezes. Okay, we've got 3 strats to take breaks as a content creator. Okay. Strat 1. Short, intentional, and organized. Okay. Now, I want to make this very clear that this is for independent VTubers more than professional and especially agency VTubers. The reason I say that is there's a very... Oh, yep. See, my face already froze, and it was a hilarious screenshot. There you go. The reason I say that is agency VTubers have a very different goal. If you guys don't know, I used to work for agencies, so I understand that the strategy there is to market yourself more as a product in an agency, and market yourself more as a group in an agency. So the way agencies will handle... Actually, before we get to strat 1, how agencies handle breaks. Whether this is mostly for VTubers, but regular streamers and video creators, you can learn this as a what not to do. Agencies will handle breaks like this. They will wait for a time in between events, which could be waiting months before they can take a break. They will then announce their break in the scariest way possible to their fans in an official document. If you're a VTuber fan, you know what I'm talking about. Agency VTubers will have management draft up this official looking document. Black text on a white background. And it's in super formal language. Like, regarding the talent Gargura. Gargura will be on hiatus No, they'll first say, "We thank you for the continuous support of our talent, Gargura." And then they'll say something like, "Gargura will be on hiatus, an indefinite hiatus." They use, like, the scariest language to just, like, freak everyone out. I understand. There's a cultural difference here. A lot of VTuber agencies, actually, I'm pretty sure all VTuber agencies, who originally did this are in Japan. And, you guys don't know, Japanese corporate culture is incredibly formal. So they're respecting their fans by giving this official announcement. However, us in the Western side of the internet find this terrifying. I find it terrifying. My heart skips a beat every time I see one of these white or black text, white background announcements. And then agency VTubers will continue to post on social media daily, even though they are on break. I consider all these three things not good. I do not believe this is how you should handle it as an independent creator. Thank you for popping in, Paradox. I hope you have a lovely day. So yeah. Waiting months before taking a break, not good. Announcing your break in a scary way to your audience, in a dramatic way, terrible. And then continuing to post on social media even though you're on break, even though you're on vacation? It almost feels like the agency VTubers will take a vacation so that they have content. Have you guys noticed that? They'll travel to a place and meet up with other agency VTubers in the same agency, and it's almost like their trip becomes more content instead of an actual break. I'm gonna write that down. Making your break content. No! Sorry. Sorry. I'm a little spicy this morning. Okay, so that's how agencies handle breaks. Don't the managers post for them sometimes, though? It highly depends on the agency and the manager. I never did that as a VTuber manager. I never posted, I never posted in the voice of my, my VTuber media. I only made official posts on like the main social media, the main agency social media, and I've only like helped sort through DMs and helped, you know, update talents on what's going on their social media, but I would never post on their social media. But yeah, I guess it really depends on like the corporate structure, the manager, the VTuber, and how their relationship is. But in most cases, I'm guessing it's the VTuber themselves is taking their work phone with them on vacation and posting about it. Okay. Sorry we went on that little tangent, but I needed to go on that detour because I wanted to point out how bad the example... Oh my gosh, am I still big? Am I still big? Yeah, I'm screen, gosh. Oh, or scuff. Sorry, I'm juggling too many windows. Okay. Let me see if I can... Yeah, there we go. Now I can see myself. Now I can see myself so that I know. Okay, anyways, let me recap because I was apparently covering the screen this entire time. Check my mic connection. Oh gosh. Is it too loud? Too quiet? It looks fine. think it was crackling a bit. Occasionally crackles. Let me check. Oh yeah, my mic wasn't plugged in all the way. Did that fix it? Oh my gosh. Should we just start over? Sounds good. Okay. Okay. Should we just start over? I am not taking a break myself, guys. Okay, what time is it? Editing Yam. Editing Yam. Start the VOD at 8:08. Which is 14 minutes and 30 seconds in. Yeah, 14 minutes and 30 seconds in. Okay, let's go over. Hey, about bunch this morning never happened. Hey, about bunch this morning never happened. Due to editing magic, this is the beginning of the podcast. Haha. Okay. So today we're talking about 3 strategies to take a break as a content creator. The very first point I would like to make is that we have a really bad example on our hands, which is how agencies, VTuber agencies, handle breaks. Now, my channel isn't specifically for VTubers, but I come from a VTuber background. I've worked for VTuber agencies before, so this is like my example to the rest of the world, even if you're not a VTuber. This is a what not to do here. VTuber agencies will wait for a time in between events. If a talent asks, hey, can I go on break? Sometimes they'll say yes. Sometimes they'll say, can you take a break in 3 months? Because our big festival is coming up and our sponsors need you to play these games, right? So sometimes VTuber agency VTubers are waiting months before they can take a break. If they're already asking to take a break, chances are they're on the verge of burnout, and then they have to wait 3 more months, which is like 60 more streams. 60 more streams at least. No, around 60 streams. Around 60 streams is 3 months. Okay. Then the VTuber agency, when it's finally time for the talent to go on the break, the VTuber agency will follow Japanese corporate protocol, and they will release a document in the scariest format. Like, thank you for supporting our talent up until this point. Our girl will be on an indefinite hiatus. We ask you to not talk to the other VTubers about this. Like, it's so ominous. And this stems from Japanese VTuber culture. Japanese corporate culture, which is that the more formal, the more you are respecting the audience, essentially. Black text on white background, exactly. Then the VTuber, when they go on break, they'll continue to post on social media daily, even though they're on break. And in some cases, they'll even make their break content. So they'll take their work phone on vacation, they'll be tweeting, hey, I just met up. I'm just gonna use Takanashi Kiara as an example. She does this all the time. She will travel the world, but she will travel the world to meet her colleagues. So it kind of becomes a work trip instead of an actual vacation. She says it's a vacation, but she's posting 10 times a day on Twitter, and she's making content during her break. They have a separate work phone, yes. It's recommended that most agency VTubers have a separate work phone, yeah. So they're just essentially continuing the grind. So I'm going to give, because we have such a bad example in agencies in the VTuber sphere, I'm going to give you guys 3 strategies to to have a better break. More effective breaks, and ones that don't scare your audience so much. So let's go over strategy 1. So I recommend this for more professionally minded, more looking to grow content creators. Okay? So first of all, plan the break, I would say 2 weeks in advance, depending on how long it takes for you to make content. And then what I want you to do is during those 2 weeks, try to make some pre-recorded content. Doesn't need to be a ton. Let's say if you're going on break for a month and your regular upload schedule is weekly, just make like 4 short videos or just upload clips of your streams if you're a streamer. Just something once a week to keep your channel alive. It does not need to be your magnum opus. It is more for the algorithm than anything. The reason you don't take breaks is for the algorithm, this is gonna give you peace of mind. So try to pre-record an appropriate amount of, hold on, let me, I guess it's fine, amount of content. Try to pre-record an appropriate amount of content depending on how long your break is. Is your next video on how to prevent burnout as a content creator? Guess what? I already have a video on that. It is on the video tab. Let's see. I have 2 videos on it actually. I have one on how to overcome burnout, and then I have another on how to make relaxing content to prevent burnout. Okay. So now comes the organization part. Make a light schedule on what the break looks like. So first, you're gonna be talking about, okay, in 2 weeks, I'm gonna take a 2-week vacation. So if I have a 2-week vacation, I'm gonna schedule, if you're a big social media person, I'm gonna schedule 4 tweets. They're gonna go out Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday. And then Friday is my regular upload days, or my regular stream days, so I'm gonna upload 2 clips. One on Friday the 14th, one on Friday the 21st. And then, once you have the game plan, you're gonna give yourself a note to your future self. Every project that you are leaving loose ends on, detail, oh, sorry. I should put it here. Detail and describe in a Google Doc for yourself. So, this is how you're gonna make it so that your brain can actually turn off. If you're a professional content creator, this is how you can actually make your brain turn off during a break. You've got the pre-recorded content, so you're not worried about your audience not having anything. You've got the scheduled tweets. You've got the schedule. And now you've put all of the loose ends about your channel on paper so that when you return, everything is there for you and you don't have to keep it in the back of your mind. You don't have to be like, oh, when I get back, I really need to remember to contact the mixer for my cover. No, that's already on the paper. So that when you are on vacation, all of this is out there on a document. You can clear your mind. That is the goal. So I'm gonna put up here. Do the prep so you can clear your mind fully. Yeah. So then, as a professionally minded creator, when you get back, I want you to do these things. Oh gosh, I sound like a life coach right now. Oh, that's cringe. I'm not a life coach. Okay. So, open back up all your software and check for updates. Very important. Especially if your break is a longer one. Okay. Open your document and recall all the loose ends and follow up on them. What kind of tea am I having? Very good of you to ask. I'm having English breakfast tea this morning. Then I want you to do a test stream or test video or whatever to make sure everything is back in order. Now is a great time when you're getting back into things. This is probably step 3. Now is a great time to revisit your setup and change things if wanted or needed. Since you're going back in and kind of reorganizing everything anyways, now's a good time if you wanted to switch chatbots, if you wanted to add a new widget to your OBS or change your overlays, now's a great time to do that. Then of course you want to do a test stream with all the changes made. And then finally, this is the delicate balance part. One that I can't exactly... I think you misspelled every. Yeah. Yeah. Guys, I'm not a speller. But thank you. And then, this is the part that I can't exactly give you strict guidelines on. This is up to your own judgment. Make fanfare of your return proportional to the break. Okay? This is something I feel like a lot of content creators fail at. I don't know if it's just me. I feel like, especially in the agency, because we have agency VTubers as an example, and I said this before we edited out the beginning of the stream, so apologies, but essentially the reason why agency VTubers are such like a bad example for us to follow is because they're a product and not a person. In the marketing sense. I'm not saying don't treat agency VTubers like a person, okay? I'm talking about how they're marketed. They're marketed like a product. So, they're marketed to be put on a pedestal. And so when an agency VTuber returns from a break, it makes sense to have a lot of fanfare. Because they're meant to be put on a pedestal. Indie VTubers, however, we give a different perspective. Independent creators in general, we are more here to... how do I put this? To just kind of be a guy? An entertaining guy, but, you know, be a guy. Not all of us are having the same goal of being put on a pedestal or marketed as heavily as agency VTubers. I hope I'm making sense. I feel like I'm just going on a tangent. But my point is, it doesn't make sense to, like, as an independent VTuber, with a cozy community, it really doesn't make sense to make this huge, like, fanfare of your return after a break. Especially if the break was short. Now, I would say if it's like 6 months and you haven't seen your audience, and you want to do this, like, huge re-debut, you could. I'm not saying you can't. But it doesn't really make sense to either. Specifically because I feel like regular content creators just go on hiatus all the time, and it's not something to be, like, crazy about. Can your audience change in 2 weeks? Yeah. Definitely. Your audience can change for the worse or better, or just change in 2 weeks. But I would say making a lot of fanfare after a break is something I would be wary of. I would just really get back into it. I might be like, oh, I'm so glad to be back. Like, thank you guys for waiting. I would do that. But I wouldn't be like, okay, now I need a new model. Now I need new overlays. Now I need to have a new lore video because I was on a hiatus and I owe this to my audience. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't put that extra pressure on yourself. We can be professional and thankful for our audience for waiting without, like, having that pressure to do what some agency VTubers do when they take breaks. Okay, so this is, like, the professional way to take a break. Now let's talk about the hobbyist slash burnout core break. Strat 2. Being kind to yourself. Oh, okay, you guys can't see. Being kind to yourself. Yeah, you guys can see that. Let me just put it on a fresh page, though, so that we can have room to write. Okay. Strat 2, being kind to yourself. Oh, you know what? I set this up wrong, that's why. Sorry, bat brain moment. I set this up wrong. This is how you set it up. I remember now. Now I remember why it's being, like, weird. We're getting scuff. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so Yam question, can you just disappear? It is not preferred. But I'm gonna talk about it. So, the first one was like, in an ideal world, and you're very professional, and you can plan your break ahead of time. That is how to do it. This is not. This is, I'm a hobbyist, Or an emergency just happened in my life and I need to take a break. So this is for burnout, emergencies, and hobbyists. Okay? This is putting yourself above your audience and putting whatever is putting whatever is more important in front of content creation. How to navigate this as a content creator. Yeah. So, step 1. Remember, you don't owe your audience anything, and there are more important things in life than content creating. Okay? That is the first thing. Try to relax. Try to relax. You don't want to give in to audience pressure. What if content is your income? Here's... If content is your income, you have accepted that your income is unstable. Think about it like this. If you were in a corporate job, are there things that can occur in your life that would keep you away from your corporate job? The answer is yes. As much as you would love to say, like, I can content create no matter what, there are things in life that are going to take precedent over your job. Okay. I'll actually write out content creation. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is communicate with your audience what is happening. Keep it short and sweet. Don't overshare. So let's say, you know what? I'm gonna use a real life example that happened to me. Some of you might remember if you've been with me for a while, but I had a freak accident when I was making videos and streaming pretty regularly. I was like, I don't even remember. That's the problem with concussions, is I don't remember. Something happened to the point where I was in, like, the shower. But I wasn't showering, I know that much. I was just, like, in the bathroom, in the shower. And I was, like, bent over on the floor of the shower, and then the shower head came down and hit me in the back of my skull, and I got a concussion. That, like, completely made it so that I couldn't regularly make content or even, like, read. I couldn't read well. I couldn't, like, communicate with my audience well. So I had to, like, basically come to my friends and ask, like, hey, can you help me? Yeah. So when that happened, I communicated with my audience what is happening. I was like, hey guys, there was an accident, and I have a case of the bat brain. And so I basically told them, like, hey, I can't create content right now. I didn't give them a return date. And I just, like, was like, hey, this is life. I did feel at the time pressure to, like, return to my audience as soon as possible, which is why I'm giving the advice to not feel that pressure. There are some things that are gonna happen in your life that keep you from work and your hobbies. And it's gonna happen. So, don't overshare. I would say, especially because Strat 2 is so usually personal affairs, I would say not oversharing with your audience on personal affairs is probably the second most important thing to not overshare on. The first most important thing would be like information that can identify you. The second is personal information that is emotional to you. Let's say, you know, let's say for some reason my dog Gunter got sick. And I'm like, hey guys, my dog Gunter got sick. He has this type of disease. He might not make it. And I don't know if I can live without my dog. This is such a hard time for me. You are broadcasting to your fans, but your enemies, your haters alike, that you are weak and vulnerable right now, and you're giving them the key to making you upset. If you say that, the next day you're gonna get some hate comment that's like, oh, I hope your dog dies. You're giving them fuel. And then even if a fan means well, let's say, you know, my dog did pass away, and then I go on hiatus and I come back and I'm like, okay guys, I'm ready to return. I know it was really sad that my dog passed away, but you know, I'm ready to move on. And then for the next month you got like, oh my gosh, I heard your dog was sick, is he okay? In your chat over and over again. It's gonna happen. So just don't overshare about like personal issues. Keep your communication short and sweet. Yeah, scary music. I still need to filter through my like music playlist, so this is what you get for now. So yeah, just assume that anything you share with your audience will be used against you. So if it's something that's personal and something that's emotional to you, do not talk about it. You know, I just stated matter-of-factly, hey, I received a concussion in a shower accident. Every time I say it, it's so funny. I'm sorry. But then I retreated. Retreat to friend groups. Don't use audience for support. Stay off social media, especially when burnt out or vulnerable. Okay? Yeah. So don't hide in the caves of Discord? I do. My friend groups are on Discord though. Use your audience? Yeah. So, after I got my accident, my concussion, I retreated to my friend groups. I told my friend groups, hey, you know, this is what happens and this is how I feel. I didn't tell my audience, like, this is all my personal feelings about it. I really just said, hey, this is what happened. Left it at that, and then I went to my friends for emotional support in a way that I wouldn't go to my audience for emotional support. Stay off of social media when you're vulnerable. If you're burnt out or vulnerable, like, emotionally, social media is brain poison. Unless your feed is super curated. Because I feel like when things are already going wrong in your life, or if you're already burnt out, I really feel like, knowing what else is going wrong in life, all around the world, is gonna make it worse. It's not gonna make you feel better, and it's actually going to prolong the break you need to take. So if your goal is to get back to your audience as soon as possible, doing a full shutdown, a full withdrawal. I'm actually gonna call this withdrawal. Yeah, there you go. Doing a full withdrawal from the internet is going to help your healing a lot. Content creation is like war. Social media is the battlefield. Ignore the news, it's all sad. Let me see if I can say it this way. I definitely realize how sensationalized things have been recently, and by following intentionally positive news outlets that balance out the bad, I have realized that we just like negativity. We just like negativity. As people, we're drawn to it, we respond to it more, so algorithms are gonna give us negativity, and the news is gonna give us more negativity. So you have to actively make a choice to a healthy choice for yourself, that when you're in a burnt out state, when an emergency or a tragedy happens in your life, you need to intentionally withdraw from all that in order to take care of yourself. Which is our next point. Take care of yourself. Take as much time as you need. Don't come back premature. Yeah. Okay. When I say take as much time as you need, I mean it. While you're taking this time, give some audience updates, but don't feel pressure. I would still keep your audience somewhat updated in community, like your Discord, or, you know, posting on Twitter, just a, hey, I'm alive. I am alive. I still need time. Thank you all for your patience. Yeah. Every so often. You can also get your friends to do this. If you have like a good mod team, you can have your mod, your manager, your friends give your audience updates if you really don't want to go back into things. Yeah, just a I miss you guys. Yeah, see? And again, thank your audience for their patience. It is really special when your audience does wait for you. It's not something that you should expect, but it's something you should definitely thank people for when they do. As someone who has, you know, gone on a lot of hiatuses, I always try to remember to be grateful to my audience when they do wait for me. And then when you do come back, when coming back, this is so important. Oh, you can't see. When coming back, step 1, get a plugin that blocks your analytics and numbers from your view. This will make coming back a lot less You're gonna get a dip in your audience. Okay, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Your audience is gonna go down in numbers. People are gonna forget who you are. But you have to remind yourself here that what you just went through, the burnout or the emergency or the tragedy, is way more important than keeping the 20 viewers you lost. Okay? So I would say while you're coming back, to keep yourself positive, block your analytics. Do not look at them. Okay? This is really important because if you just got back from feeling burnt out, that's not going to help you to revisit that feeling of burnout. And numbers really burn you out. Yeah. Numbers do mean something, but life goes up and down. It's natural. Yeah. And you're gonna get it back. The algorithm really does wake up. Okay? It's gonna be okay. So while you're in that vulnerable moment of coming back, which is already hard enough, block those analytics, baby. Then I would say slowly build back up over time. Don't rush back into a full-time content creation schedule. Now this is counterintuitive to the algorithm, but again, when I say these use cases, I mean it. Burnout isn't algorithm friendly. I'm just gonna say it right there. Burnout in emergencies, not algorithm friendly. So how it looks to get back or come back is gonna be not algorithm friendly. Now, if you are able to, and if you are not a hobbyist and you're looking for growth, you could follow the more intense return schedule. But if you are like really feeling like you almost quit because you were so burnt out and now you're finally ready to get back into it, do not go full ham. Now, I really consider strategy 2 the way to play the long game. This is how to be a sustainable content creator. If you don't, I consider like this professional way to be only capable, like only a few people, only the really rise and grind people are capable of doing this every time. This is the way more realistic break. This is what I consider an actual break. Yeah. Let's read chat for a bit. Honestly, if you're not burnt out anymore, your numbers will go past your old peak if all goes well. Yeah. Definitely need something like this. Even if I am just someone watching VTubers, it relates to grading and peer pressures. Block them. I've seen some people try to commodify their burnout or growth for further views and likes, furthering the issue for them. Yeah. So when you're coming back, I mean, I've already emphasized be kind to yourself, but ban and block as needed. I'm gonna tell you guys a story. As someone who used to manage VTubers, I used to manage a VTuber who needed to go on a big mental health hiatus, and it was intense. Like, it was for serious reasons. I'm not going to divulge more than that, but it was for serious reasons that were possibly life and death. And this VTuber's audience was so mean about it. There, of course, there's the regular people who are like, oh, take as much time as you need, so-and-so. We'll be here for you when you get back. Just take care of yourself. Those people, fantastic. By the way, if you're an audience member, if, you know, if one of your favorite creators announces a hiatus, that's the perfect way to respond. It gives us so much peace of mind. But then there was other people who were like, oh my gosh, I pay for your membership. Your membership is so expensive. You owe me streams because I pay for your streams. Let me tell you, when I ban people so quickly, because that, I knew if my VTuber saw that, I knew if my VTuber saw it, and I really hope she didn't. If my VTuber saw that, that might have been, you know, something dangerous to see when mental health gets that bad, you know? It's terrible. So seriously, ban and block is needed. Don't let those brainworms in. Here's the question. What should you do if you had a private falling out with someone you had a very public connection with? What does that do? What does one do if people ask about them? I would say, hey, now's not the time to ask about this on stream. You know, we're having a good time on stream, and that's a heavy topic. Or I would ignore them. You know? Not every chat member warrants a response. Not every message warrants a response. If you are someone with only in the 2 to 10 viewer range and your chat isn't going fast enough for it to like move up in the chat, I just delete the chat message. Yeah. You don't owe anyone a response. So yeah. Then the last step, I guess. Oh wait, this needs to start back at 1 to be in line with the previous. Okay, 3, 4. Yeah, there we go. As a moderator for a streamer, does anyone know how to stop deleted messages from appearing on the streamer's chat overlay? All the scams are getting through. There's nothing you can do with that unless your streamer is actually capturing the chat window itself. There's nothing you can do. If they're using a chat widget, it's gonna go through. So that's not on you. And then lastly, remind yourself why you started as motivation to get back into it. And of course, have fun. Okay, so this is strategy 2. This is the way more realistic version of a break, in my opinion. You don't have a schedule. You're giving your audience updates, but you're mostly withdrawn from social media. And you have to remember you don't owe your audience anything. This is gonna affect your numbers, so I recommend blocking your numbers for a while until you get back into the swing of things. I recommend to slowly build up. I don't recommend going straight back into your old schedule. And if people are being stupid, ban them and block them. If you can't ban them and block them, ask a friend to just be a mod for your first week back. Okay, so that's strat 1 and 2. This Google Doc will be linked in the VOD on YouTube, by the way. If you want this Google Doc, you can just link in the description. Hopefully I remember to put it up right away. Okay, next. Strat 3. This is an interesting strat, and I don't know who exactly it's gonna help, actually. Take a half break. Specifically... I guess this is why I'm doing it. This is for people looking to scale back and fall in love with content creation again. They're not burnt out. They are just... They're not burnt out, they're just tired, I guess. I guess that's the best way I would put it. This is what I'm currently doing. I'm creating, but I'm not like nose to the grindstone. So for those of you who don't really know, for those of you who haven't like super followed me, I used to be a variety streamer looking to get into Hololive and Nichi-Sanji. And then I pivoted because I realized that's not exactly what I want. I pivoted to videos and educational videos. And then after I, you know, worked really hard on my videos, I started to burn out of that. Part of it was getting a concussion, other part was just, getting a full-time earning from, a lot of different, like, side hustles, which was, I was streaming, I was making videos, but then I was also taking commissions, and then I was also a VTuber manager for multiple agencies, all at once. Sometimes that was, like, a really unhealthy work schedule. I was just doing too many things. And it exhausted me. So I burnt out, especially because the atmosphere of the agencies I was working for, was actually horrendous for, you know, for anyone involved. So this is for a person who isn't doing content full-time. Yeah, this would definitely be for a hobbyist. But I don't know, I feel like this could be beneficial to a full-time content creator. If they're on the brink of burnout, they've tried different kinds of breaks, and every time they feel like it's not working and they just feel like, I want to keep creating, but I don't want all the hard parts of content creation. Now, this will also result in a dip in viewers, just a by the way. I have, like, full transparency. My viewership has, you know, definitely gone down, but I'm beyond the point of caring. So there's that. I wish I was a manager for content creators and VTubers. Yeah, it sounds like a desirable job. But you can watch my videos on why it was miserable, actually. Doesn't taking a break in general hurt viewers? It does, yeah. I would say the way to minimize the amount of hurt it makes is following strategy 1. That is the best way to take a break and keep your viewers happy. Okay, so this is what my current strategy is. I'm not taking content creation seriously, I'm just having fun with it. Stop taking content creation seriously. Just have fun, and whatever gets created, gets created. Go with the natural flow of your mind. What are you in the mood to make? Just make that. Cut out the parts of content creation you don't enjoy. Pull back your schedule. Or even get rid of your schedule entirely and just create when you feel like it. Yeah. So, that's really it. This is something I would try. Hey, thanks for saying you love my videos. This is something I would totally try if, you know, you've tried taking multiple breaks, you don't feel like you're enjoying content creation anymore, and you're on the brink of quitting. Let's just put this on its own page for now. The Yam method of content creation. This isn't actually what I started with, by the way. And this is not what grew my following. I grew my following by grinding. Grinding, editing, polished content. And now y'all are here because of that polished content. And I'm making unpolished content because, if I continued to make polished content, I would have quit. So keep in mind, this is the better than quitting method. It's basically how to enjoy content creation again. You know? Better than quitting. That's what I would call this. Because I feel like the reason people quit is they lose sight of the enjoyment in it. Which is natural. Some people are just gonna lose enjoyment out of any hobby. Sometimes it's just not for you, and sometimes you grow out of it. Maybe your interests move on. Which a lot of people did. A lot of people were into VTubers in 2020, and now they're not. And, you know, that's okay. It's okay to have like a hobby and for it to pass you by and be like, okay, I don't want to do this hobby anymore. Totally respectable. But if you're feeling like, oh, I really used to like VTubing and I want to like VTubing again, or I really like streaming again, or I really like video making I want to like it again. I want to like art again. I want to like music again. I would recommend this. I would recommend taking out all the pressure. And it worked for me. I enjoy streaming again. I wish, like, I could hire an editor to just edit my streams into videos. But I don't have an editor. A lot of you watching the VODs are like, ugh, all the pauses, all the scuff. Well, it's better than not having any Yam content, right? That's so like narcissistic of me to say, but to me it's true. It's better than not doing anything, because if I didn't have this option, if I didn't take a half break, I wouldn't be creating anything. If you look at my channel, 2024 is one of my most barren years of content creation since starting. And the reason was, it's because I was like, I don't have the bandwidth to make full videos right now, so I'm just not gonna create. I'm gonna wait until I have the full bandwidth to make videos. But that was never happening. It wasn't coming to me. I was doing strategy 2 for an entire year, when really I could have been doing strategy 3, and my momentum actually is starting to build again because I'm not putting the pressure on myself to return, quote unquote. And I've actually noticed for streamers that go for like 15 years or more, it's mostly this. They're mostly just doing this forever now. They're mostly on half break mode. And they've got the long-term audience that just tunes in for them. Yeah, people like PewDiePie, Markiplier, Vinny Vinesauce, Germa, those kind of people. Sometimes they'll go out of their way to make like a really high effort project when they're inspired. But the majority of the time, they're kind of on this default half a break strategy where they kind of go live when they want, they kind of make what they want. They go with the natural flow rather than being obsessed with what's going to do well in the algorithm. So grind then take a half break once you're established? Kind of. That might be what I'm saying here, but I would even say, like, if you never want to grind, you can just be a hobbyist forever. Yeah. Someone asks, how do you find time to stream when you have a full-time job? Personally, I recommend keep a consistent schedule, even if that schedule looks like streaming once a month or streaming once a week. I would not... Yeah. But yeah. I do feel like what Greg D was saying in the chat is a good point. It says... oh my gosh. Greg says... doesn't make money. Yeah, content creation that's enjoyable is often not tied in with business. VTubers and content creators that make this their business sacrifice some of the joy that comes with it. And that's their choice, and it's very respectable, but it's not for everyone. I don't feel like before 2010, we were obsessed with making our hobbies side hustles. And maybe that's, you know, maybe that's a commentary on how bad the economy is, right? Like, oh, you can afford to make your hobby not a side hustle? But I'm not really sure. I really feel like there's an attitude shift in our culture that everything needs to be productive. You can stream and not make money, and it's not a shame. You can make videos that make you happy and not make money, and it's not a shame. You can build Gundam, you can learn an instrument, and you can be bad at it, and you can not make money on it, and it's not a shame. And you shouldn't shame yourself for that. You shouldn't compare yourself to people who are sacrificing part of their happiness in order to make their streaming hobby into a job. That's a choice that really suits some people. Some of my friends are serious rise and grind streamers. That's not me. That's not me. As much as sometimes I wish it was me, it's just not. So, you know. You gotta know yourself, and the way you know yourself is kind of like experiment. Oh, that's another one in taking a half break. Experiment with new types of creative outlets. Yeah, perma half break is absolutely me. I don't have a massive audience, but I'm happy just doing this as a hobby for now within a small community, and to be honest, I don't have the energy to put in all that effort. Me too. Yeah, that's me. I'm just gonna be on half break until I feel like, you know. Definitely think it's because we're all poor. I don't know if it's a cultural shame as much as needing money and looking at what skills you have to make that money with. Very true. Very true. But I don't know. The hypergrind mindset is definitely not for everyone. It is for some people. I've got some... Whoa, voice crack. I don't know if that came through. Let me sip some tea. Okay. I've got some friends that are just incredible. If you guys know my friend Shog, who also is Dahlia on Irium, she juggles 2 VTuber characters on multiple streaming platforms. She also makes videos, weekly videos, but then she does 2 streams a day. 2 streams a day, weekly videos, 2 VTuber characters, multiple streaming platforms, and she somehow also, you know, finds time to write the script, edit the videos, make shorts. And she's loving life. She's loving life. It's nuts. That's not me. Did you make your background or commission it? And if it was commissioned, may I ask who the artist was? My background credits should be on my Twitch. If not, they're on my card. But I actually got them from an artist on Ko-Fi. And they are open use to the public. You just have to pay for them. Yeah. Who are you talking about? My friend, the is the Eldritch Library. She plays 2 characters, Shog and Dahlia. So yeah. It's so much work. Another friend of mine who's like a serious grinder is Lasso Catsidy. He will do like these long haul streams. Sometimes he'll be on Desert Bus for like 10 hours straight. I think his longest stream was like 16 hours. That is not in my DNA. That is not in my DNA. I already feel like I've been going for a long time. Yeah. So there are people who are crazy grinders, and that's just not me. Yeah, the Eldritch Library, yes. But yeah. Oof. It's okay, like, if you want to be in half-break mode for years and then come back to, like, okay, now I'm gonna take content creation seriously again. For me, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be out of half-break mode. But I've kind of just accepted it and rolled with it. And I appreciate everyone who continues to support me through half-break mode. Where do they get the energy to do so much? I would collapse just thinking about all of that. I think it's just... they're incredibly motivated to make this their full-time. It's their dream. Like, truly. They take this as a job, and they take it very seriously. And they love their job. They're super passionate about it. Yeah, if you were offered 1 million to start an agency, would you? No. I would die under the stress. Aw, thank you. Thank you for the raid, Radiance. Hello, hello. Welcome on in. We're talking about taking a break as a content creator. Now, I give you these 3 strategies, especially if you are considering quitting. If one of these will help you to stop that feeling of quitting, I think it's worth it to try. Now, if even after you take a break and you've even tried like the half break thing and you still feel like quitting, maybe it's time to quit. Maybe it's time to be like, hey, indefinite hiatus. But I definitely don't consider like saying, alright guys, I'm done, and quitting, and I'm deleting all my stuff before you've tried to recover from burnout to be a good to be a great solution. I've seen so many streamers, so many video makers be like, alright, YouTube, I'm quitting, and then they come back. Sometimes even after, like, having a really, like, for VTubers, we have, like, graduations because we've been basing ourselves on idol culture, and idol agencies, so we'll have, like, a graduation that is, like, such a big deal. There's like graduation goodbye merch and everyone's throwing super chats being like, we'll miss you. Everyone sends in their fan mail, everyone's weeping and crying, and there's a bunch of emotional fan art, and you know, it's basically a funeral. Oh, speaking of Lasso, everyone, that's the friend that does Desert Bus for 10 hours. Look at him. He's in the Twitch chat. Go check him out. But yeah, there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth over these graduations. And then, how many times does that VTuber now come back? How many times does that VTuber now come back after taking a break? And for me, it feels kind of weird. Like, I get if you're switching companies, that's a choice to have, like, a graduation and everything, and, you know, it can be a good way to close the chapter. But I don't know. I think a better strategy for a independent VTuber would be to not graduate. Don't graduate. Say, hey, I'm going on an indefinite hiatus, or I'm gonna, you know, stop taking this so seriously. I'm gonna have fun with my channel and see if I can return from this burnout. Before you say, hey, I'm graduating, because you can't really take that back. And it really makes your audience go through some things emotionally. So I would recommend, like, steering clear of the temptation to graduate as the solution. If you go on an indefinite hiatus and you're like, okay, I'm totally done with streaming, you can even come back 6 months later and be like, hey guys, I don't think I'm returning. Sorry. And that's okay. It's better than, like, having big fanfare and then maybe, you know, maybe just coming back because it was like, oh, false alarm, it was just burnout and I miss you guys now. The leave and come back cycle just means they needed a break. Yeah, and it's so prevalent. It's so prevalent. In VTubers particularly, but I'm sure it's really prevalent with, like, video creators and streamers just in general. Hello, welcome to the Bat Bunch. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like these 3 strategies might save you from going down that path. Yeah. I think your audience will feel kind of cheated and discounted if they donate to your graduation stream and do all this stuff for you, only for you to come back. So I would highly recommend, like, not pulling the graduation trigger. Just, yeah. To me, a graduation is a plot point, the end of a story, and maybe I wonder if I'd be better to create your own exit. Oh, sorry. I wonder if it would be better to create your own exit strategy plot point from the start. If you're a very lore-focused VTuber, that might be cool. I'm gonna host a funeral when I stop VTubing instead. Thanks for the advice. Yeah. Lasso, that is worse. Got plenty of anecdotal stories of leave come back cycles. Oh my gosh. Same here. Oh, thank you, Greg D, for the super chat.
Greg D super chatted $4.99. Can't we break the idea of graduation? It's one that should leave tubing. Like make it like retiring, like Watson did.
I so much agree, Greg. The idea of graduation is very idol culture-like, and the idea of graduation specifically comes from the thought that idols' careers are really short, and part of that is because the idol wants to leave when he or she is past their performance prime, ready to move on as a solo musician or ready to move on with their lives. The idea of idols is like this eternal youth figure that is perfect in every way, and no one can keep up the idol life. It is an unsustainable life. Especially because you are not allowed to have a public significant other, and you have to constantly be perfect for every camera. So, graduating from that life is a bittersweet moment for the idol because they get to finally live their regular life, you know? And it's really sad for the fans, but idol fans in general realize that their time with their idol in a way becomes more precious because at most they have 5 years together. So they're like, support your Oshi while you still can, kind of thing. With VTubers, I don't see the point in that. Number one, we're gonna look the same forever. Unless we get a new model. The weird thing to think about, guys, is I have, like, physically aged in appearance since I started VTubing, but you guys have no idea. Oh yeah, my 5-year anniversary is coming up, guys. So, like, I would prefer if VTubers didn't use that because I don't think it really applies to our situation. Was it from the stress of being a manager? Possibly. The manager job definitely gave me some forehead wrinkles, guys. Yeah, VTubing can come back. If you leave at 25, come back at 35, it's not a big deal, exactly. And then the other thing is you can keep your life totally separate as a VTuber in a way that you can't exactly do as an idol. So it's a lot more sustainable. Yeah. So I feel like, in a sense, this whole graduation culture really doesn't fit what we're doing and we should move on from it. And I think Greg D is really right. Like, retiring would be way better. Because it's easy to come out of retirement. It's easy to do things after retirement. But, like, having a funeral for yourself is really weird. Graduations feel like funerals. Do most VTubers and streamers who graduate end up coming back and come back with or without support of other VTubers at all? Most VTubers who graduate from a company do come back. Yeah. At this point in the industry, I genuinely feel like there is a 50-50 chance if someone graduates, especially if they're a bigger indie, that they're coming back as a corporate VTuber. And then when a corporate VTuber graduates, they're coming back to indie or going to another corporation. I genuinely feel like graduation doesn't even mean the same thing anymore, which is weird because it still feels like funerals when we very know well that there's a 50% chance that we're gonna see this creator again in 6 months in another context. Yeah. Basically, you're like Daft Punk. No one knows you unless you want them to, yeah. If a wrestler like Ric Flair can retire and unretire and retire like a dozen times, why not VTubers? That's the spirit, Greg. Before VTubers, there are celebrities and idols who lived to 80s and 90s. Yeah. It's just that these celebrities who were respectful didn't have VTubing celebrities. Since VTubing is infancy industry. Yeah, it's in its infancy. Most VTubers, not to toot my own horn here, but most VTubers are my age or younger. Oh, not like physically. But like skill-wise, they've been doing this for 5 years or younger, most of them. 5 years or less. So put that into perspective. I really feel like the lifespan of a VTuber, like if we took the average lifespan of a VTuber, it's gonna be like 2 to 3 years. It's gonna be 2 to 3 years. And you know why this is? I'm gonna point back to this. We're gonna go full circle really quick. It's because this is how people handle breaks. It's because no one actually takes a break as a VTuber. Sadly unable to watch, but catching it later. Thank you, Autumn, for tuning in. Yeah. Why can't we view graduations like moving on to a role? That's a great question. I think that would be way, way more, like, healthy for the viewer and the VTuber alike. Your YouTube is 10 seconds behind Twitch. That's normal. If you want lower latency, you actually have to go to Twitch, because YouTube just doesn't give us the option to have low latency. This is the lowest it goes. Which is why I stream on both, by the way. You can choose your platform. Yeah. So, are you guys ready for the recap? I'm ready for the recap. Alright, let's go over the recap really quick. Maybe someday I would make these recaps into clips, but I don't like editing. Alright, here we go. Recap. 3 strategies to take breaks as a content creator. So, coming from the VTuber's perspective, here's the example, the bad example we've been given. Agency VTubers are the most popular and most people follow what they do, and I disagree with the way they handle breaks. Agency VTubers have to wait for a good time to take a break, and it can be months before they're even allowed to take a break. They announce their break in the scariest way possible in an official document that scares their fans. Even when they're on break, they're posting on social media constantly, and not turning their brain off from work. And then last, and I think the worst offense is they make their break content. They, you know, find ways to make content while on vacation or make their vacation part of their content. Alright, so this is a big ol' what not to do. Let me take a sip. Next. Strategy 1. This is the short, intentional, and organized strategy. I consider this the best strategy for professionals. Actually, I should add this. For professional-minded creators who are looking to minimize audience loss. Okay. So, when you're in that grind set, this is how you take a break. You have to do prep work ahead of time so that when you're on your break, you can have a fully clear mind and not worry about your channel. I would recommend prepping about 2 weeks in advance. Pre-record an appropriate amount of content depending on your upload schedule, depending on your stream schedule. You can pre-record, let's say, if you're taking a 2-week break and you would have streamed 4 times in that time, I would pre-record 4 streams or 4 clips or 4 videos and upload them in your regular stream times. Twitch even lets you like have a pre-recorded stream go on your channel. Next, organize. Make a light schedule on what your break looks like. So be like, okay, for these 2 weeks I'm going to prep, and then for the next 2 weeks I'm gonna have Twitter upload 4 tweets automatically, gonna have Twitch play my pre-recorded streams, and then I'm going to, you know, post a meme when I get back. You know, just a light content schedule, so that you can automate everything. Then when you have everything automated, note to your future self. Detail and describe every ongoing project that you're leaving loose ends on in a Google Doc so that they're out of your mind. So that you can fully rest your mind when you're on break and you're not like, oh gosh, I need to email this person, I need to get back to my sponsor. Put it all in a Google Doc so that you can take care of it when you get back. Alright, when you get back, after fully turning your brain off to content creation and not checking social media, open back all your software, check for updates. Really important. I can't tell you how many times I've come back to streaming only for NVIDIA to need an update and then I have to cancel the stream or, you know. Open your document and recall all the loose ends and follow up on them. Get back to your cover artist, get back to your, you know, check your email, get back to everyone and be like, hey, I'm back. All right, let's keep working. While this is going on, you can revisit your setup. Now's a great time to change things, add new overlays, you know, reorganize your OBS. And then of course, when you're done changing things, do a test stream to make sure everything's back in order. And then depending on the kind of content creator you are and the amount of time you work on, make fanfare appropriate and proportional to the break. So like have a little like party like, hey, I'm back. But you know, of course, make it proportional. Don't go overboard if you were only gone for 4 days. So yeah. Strategy 2. This is for burnout, emergencies, and hobbyist VTubers who aren't in the grind set, need to leave the grind set, or something has happened that is way more important than streaming. So, number 1, remind yourself you don't owe your audience anything, and there are more important things in life than content creation. Especially in the time of an emergency. Communicate with your audience what is happening, keep it short and sweet, and don't overshare. Remember, anything you share with your audience can be held against you. You really just want to let them know what's going on so that they're aware without using them as your emotional outlet. Next step, you're gonna withdraw. You're gonna retreat to your friend groups instead of sharing with your audience. Don't use your audience for emotional support. Stay off of social media. It's only gonna make your mood worse. When you're burnt out and vulnerable, knowing what's going on with the world is not gonna help that. Take care of yourself. Take as much time as you need and do not come back prematurely, especially if you're burnt out. Give your audience some updates, just a hey, I'm alive, thank you for your patience. but don't give in to pressure to return. When coming back from this kind of break, you should get a plugin that blocks your views and analytics because your number is gonna tank. It happens to everyone, but I don't want that to discourage you. So getting a plugin, I use Goodbye Metrics on Firefox to block my view count. And then, of course, slowly build it back over time. Don't rush back into a full-time content creation schedule. This is not ideal for the algorithm, but it sure is ideal for your mental health. Ban and block is needed, especially if people are acting entitled. And then, of course, remind yourself why you started. Okay. Strategy 3. This is my current strategy. Taking a half break. I feel like this is probably the best for people who are needing to fall back in love with content creation because they fell out of love. Multiple breaks haven't solved the issue. And they need like a way to fall back in love and enjoy what they do again. I would stop taking content creation seriously. Just have fun. Whatever you make, you make. Whatever, you know, falls by the wayside, oh well. Go with the natural flow of your mind. What are you in the mood to make? Just make that. If you abandon video game playthroughs halfway, oh well. If you're only posting work in progress art, oh well. Just go with the natural flow. Cut the parts of content creation you don't enjoy. I don't edit videos and I don't post on social media anymore because I don't enjoy those things. Experiment with new types of creative outlets. See if there's anything you can add into your creative hobby to make it fresh and new for yourself. And then, of course, pull back your schedule, and if you need to, get rid of your schedule entirely and just create when you feel like it. So yeah, those are my 3 recommended pathways to take an effective break as a content creator depending on your needs and your goals. Wow. Okay, that was the recap. Let's read chat, and then I'm gonna call it. Let's see, where did I leave off? I can imagine content creators leaving to start a family and then come back with it once their life stabilizes. Yeah, that's a really good reason to take a break or to take content creation less seriously. Not gonna lie, if Watson came back in 2 years, I'd be okay with that. Exactly. Just keep the door open. You don't need to close the door. Comes back after a stabilized life, then they become celebrities like the ones who are legends because they're 90 plus years old. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes celebrities also fall out of the public eye for a bit and then they come back when they're ready. Wait, sorry. My throat. Let me take a sip. If you need to email a sponsor, do an Amelie. Yeah. I guess it's something I need to add to this first strategy. Before you go during the organization step, email the important people, letting them know you are out of office. Yeah. I would do that before making a note on where you're leaving projects off. If you have a sponsor you're working with, you know, it is important to let them know that you're out of office. Let's see. How do test streams work? I mostly just stream unlisted on YouTube. Or you can just like label a Twitch stream, hey, this is a test stream. And if your audience catches the test stream, well, that's an extra cool piece of lore for them. Yeah. Or they can never come back because life for them is better without content creation. Yeah, if you realize on a break you're a lot happier without content creation, you can do one of two things. You can either assess what part of content creation is making your life worse and cut it out, or you can just not return and, you know, that's okay too. Yeah. This should be part of a streamer slash VTuber cheat sheet. You know, I would really love if someone could give me like the best way to format all of my guides so that they're available online. Because I have all these documents, but I don't know where to put them. And I don't know the best way to display them. So if you guys have ideas, please tell me them either here or in my Discord, because I would love to make all of these available for the public in just like little written guides. Is your connecting VTubers together a starting out stuff thing still around? I thought it was in a previous video somewhere. It is in a previous video somewhere. I see. I need to figure out like where to put these. I need to figure out the best way to display these guides. If you have any ideas and you're a VOD watcher, you can just, you know, comment on the VOD and I'll look at it. But yeah, I'll review my options. For now, I'm just going to, in fact, I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna share this. See. Anyone with the link can view. Copy link. Okay. We're gonna call this Take a Break as a content creator, and I'm just gonna plop it in the description really quick, which is something I can do. Let me hide my Firefox window really quick. Edit stream somewhere. Edit. Yeah. Here we go. Written guide. There we go. Giving Nosagi these would be a good boost. Perhaps. This is such epic music for a guide, yeah. Maybe post these on your Discord, on X, Facebook, Insta, etc. Get yourself onto some VTuber talk shows. Become a household name because your advice is a standard. Thank you. Maybe when I feel like grinding again. But for now, I'm just making these on half break. Might be when I feel like returning that I'll return to these scripts and make videos out of these, but for now I'm just kind of, writing as I'm going. I had a general idea of what I wanted to talk about today, and I had my general points in my brain, but I didn't, have the guide written out. I didn't have a script for today, so hope it wasn't too hard to watch through, unless you were here from the beginning and you watched me start over. Right when the VOD is done processing, I'm going to cut the first 14 and a half minutes out of this VOD. But it takes a whole day to process, so I might comment, hey, skip to the last 14, or skip the first 14 minutes of the VOD. Anyways, I hope you guys had a good time with me this morning talking about taking breaks. I feel like the low viewership is making me want to cut down on streaming since it gets a bit demotivating, but I do enjoy editing VODs down to YouTube videos, even if those don't get many views. Yeah, I would say, I don't know how to say, like, the numbers game burns you out. I know that some people can handle, like, analytics, and I know how to. I know how to handle analytics, and I know how to analyze them. but I don't care for them personally. I don't like watching, I don't like looking at my numbers because it actually ruins it for me. Soren might be a good VOD editor for you. I don't want anyone, I mean, I don't want to make anyone work for free. If you ever want to edit down my VODs and you want me to post them as videos, you can always email me at yamlbat@protonmail.com, and I would be more than happy to work with you. I will give you the raw VOD and everything. But other than that, you know, I don't want anyone to, like, feel obligated, you know? And I would prefer, technically, if my, the edited VODs go to my channel, but, you know, if you ever wanted to clip me on your channel, that's fine too. Oh sheesh, you use Proton Mail, that's 10 plus points for Yam. I am a privacy stickler. As a VTuber, I feel like it's very important to be private. So yeah, I do use Proton Mail. But yeah, that's everything I had for today, guys. I guess the last announcement would be Snow Miku competition is on right now, so if you guys are an artist or character designer and you want to throw a design into the Snow Miku ring, you can check out their information just by typing in, like, the Snow Miku. It's just type in, like, Snow Miku. It's on their official website. They have a template and a theme. This year's theme is Happy Patisserie. The person who makes pastries. So I will hopefully find the gumption to work on that. Oh, phew, I thought you were gonna say you were going on break. No. I'm always on break now. I am on half break. Forever. I only stream once a week, and I plan nothing. I didn't have much to say in this chat, but it was a very nice stream to listen to. Very interesting stuff. Thank you. Thank you all for sticking around. I'm glad you guys find my random ramblings interesting. My yammerings, if you will. Alright, we're gonna end over on YouTube because this VOD is long enough. And I really, really hope that you guys have a great week. I will see you guys next week again at 8 AM, Friday 8 AM. And as always, YouTube, take care, Bat Bunch. Okay, now we're only live on Twitch, and we are gonna raid out. Let's see, is there anyone streaming that